The guest today on the Godcast is Nick Tall. Nick is a lay member of General Synod. He is a real advocate for inclusion. He's involved with the campaign for the blessing of same-sex relationships and equal marriage. He's involved with Inclusive Church. He's involved with Open Table. And do you think we are putting too much expectation and pressure on our bishops, Nick? There is a clear difference of opinion in the House of Bishops, as there is in the House of Clergy, as in the House of Laity, as there is in the wider church. Are we asking them to solve the unsolvable?
I don't think we're expecting enough of our bishops, actually. I think that the House of Bishops made a deliberate political choice in the lead up to February 2023 in General Synod of bringing decisions of things the House of Bishops could do under powers that they already have. So it wasn't General Synod, gives powers to the bishops to do X. The motion you and I voted for was this synod welcomes the House of Bishops' decisions to introduce liturgy, to replace pastoral guidance. So the House of Bishops have come out and said, our powers are such, we can do these things. And do you welcome us? And we gave the political authority by welcoming that in the February 23 vote, which we reiterated again in November 23.
My guest today on the Godcast is Bishop Helen Ann Hartley, who is the Bishop of Newcastle.
Maybe it's that a number of my colleagues are just fearful, don't want to lose control. I think it's issues around that, which is in some ways a human failing which becomes an institutional failing. And I think we've seen that in safeguarding many, many times. We still see it, that human failings lead to institutional failings, which is a sort of perpetual cycle of despair, which actually is a really unhealthy place to be. So I think a lot of the Church of England is still stuck in that cycle of wanting to control and to have power and not to lose face. And I think that's at the heart of it.
Yeah. Jobs. My guest this week on the Godcast is Professor Helen King, and Professor Helen has actually been on my podcast previously. We talked about matters of human sexuality and living in love and faith, but today we're going to be talking about her brand new book, which is called Immaculate Forms: Uncovering the History of Women's Bodies.
Got a long history, and it will cure hysteria, which we don't believe in now, and all sorts of other things. Just basically a woman who's behaving in a way that her husband finds offensive. She's talking too much. She's refusing to do what he tells her. The answer, take her clitoris off. And that was done in the 19th century with the support of the Church of England. The Church Times published an advert saying if any priest, hello, Father Alex, if any priest was having trouble with his women of his parish, he could recommend to their husbands that they should send them along to Isaac Baker Brown's surgical home in London, where they could have the operation.
My guest on the Godcast today is Paul Bayes. Paul is a retired deacon, priest, bishop. He was formerly the Bishop of Hertford, and he was also, more lastly, the Bishop of Liverpool. I do hope you...
That you should kind of, when you become a bishop, you should enter a kind of vacuum of opinion, that nobody should know what you think about anything. And I honour those of my sisters and brothers who spoke out for a conservative position, just as I honour those who speak out for a progressive position, because speaking out is not an unchristian thing to do. And
my guest today on the Godcast is Dr. Karen O'Donnell, and Karen is the academic dean at Westcott House in Cambridge.
So one of the things that I think is common to these experiences of all the different kind of things that you've named there is places where men's authority goes unchecked. Like, let's be honest about this. I think this is a sin of the patriarchy that imbues men, particularly men with kind of religious power, with a particular kind of authority that's spiritual, way more influential than we perhaps want to give it credit for.
Well, I'm delighted to say that joining me on the Godcast this week, it may be a familiar face to people who follow the Godcast, is the very Reverend Richard Sewell. Richard is the Dean of St George's College in Jerusalem.
Bit self-indulgent since we don't live in Gaza, but we're only 45 miles from Gaza. And there have been times when I have traveled out on the weekend to get out of Jerusalem, do something different, and I can hear the bombs landing in Gaza. And that's the world we live in. We all live in it, wherever we are in the world. But when you can hear the bombs landing that are killing people, it does something to your heart and your soul that you can't just walk away from and go, well, that was an interesting day. You know, that was a horrible day when it came closer to home than before. So, yeah, the answer to how are you? Yeah, it is Gaza, but it is also trying to do my best to continue to be my little light in my bit of this hell.
Gosh, Richard, that's quite choked me up, because as you know, I've been out there a few times, and the place gets under your skin quite quickly, doesn't it? And
It really does.